Who amongst the non-starters will make the biggest impact on offense and defense? I know starting is a relative term.
In the non-starters, well, I think on offense, whoever the other running back is, Judkins and Henderson are both.
No, you can't go with that.
Yeah,
you got to pick somebody else, Steve. That doesn't
easy.
count.
Well, okay. Are they going to start with two running backs on the field? Because by
they're
definition,
as Ryan alludes to, they're both starters. It's a relative term. You can't go that one. You got to pick somebody else other than those two.
I'm being a dick about it. So I think
I wouldn't go that extreme, but
no, I would agree with them. I would.
Brandon Ennis, Will Kazmarek, Jelani Thurman. I think those are three. If we figure G. Scott's going to start at tight end, Brandon Ennis at wide receiver, probably the fourth wide receiver, and maybe Bryson Rogers or even Mylan Graham could help out. But I want to get into the season and see how the roles are kind of carved out. And our friend Dan Hope will tell us each week the snap counts from 11 Warriors. He is the snap count guru in terms of telling us that. But those three guys, I think James Peoples will be an unsung hero on this team too. I was joking with my buddy that the kid from West Muskingum, Rashid Cisse, the walk-on running back, I was joking that he'll be the guy that is out there, as the clock's ticking down inside 2 minutes and it's 55-4. He'll be the one that's out there. Tim Brando is thanking the producer and plays are being run in the background, and Ryan Day's about to run out to midfield, and Jenny Taft's about to run out there and get him, and all this, all the frivolity of signing off. Rashid Cisse will be out there to take the last couple plays. On defense, my goodness, the list is long and distinguished, because I think the second team could probably finish in the top 5 in the Big Ten, with a representative offense, and that would be Caden Curry, Kenyatta Jackson, maybe CJ Hicks, Arvell Reese. Let's see. Malik Hartford, mentioned him earlier at safety. The young corner everybody loves is the fourth corner is Jermaine Matthews. Yeah, that's the list, my list, and I'll stick to it. I'm missing a defensive tackle or two probably that'll fit in there too.
Well, and I'm currently wrote about the offense yesterday in terms of guys who have made the most of fall camp, and writing the finishing up defense today. One of those, Steve, you just kind of alluded to, Caden McDonald, a defensive tackle, who is the number 3 defensive tackle most likely, and it continues to make some noise. But in terms of the biggest impact, I probably it's our. If Jermaine Matthews gets to play, he's going to make an impact. The problem is he's got 3 NFL guys in front of him, 2 outside corners and Jordan Hancock at nickel, but he's good enough to rotate in with them if they want to do that. And he's a guy coming off the bench that would have a pretty big impact. And I do think that, we still have yet to see those guys stay healthy for an entire season. So I think there will be opportunities for him to play. Kenyatta Jackson is a guy that keeps getting talked about, but that is kind of a yearly thing as well. And this is going to be the best he's been as a redshirt sophomore. So we keep hearing good things about him in practice and the difficulty in stopping him, but that's how practice goes when you're a starter quality defensive end playing against an offensive line that you might be facing the number 2s right now, or actually the number 3s, because the number 1s are out sick. And it's not been a great camp for the offensive line because of illness. So it's not unusual that defensive linemen are looking really good right now. CJ Hicks would be a fantastic answer, but I still want to see it. And they know what he can do now. So now it's up to them to have the faith in those situations to actually call those plays and put him in for those situations. So I think those are some names on defense. And offense. My first thought was Brandon Ennis, like Steve said. You're talking about the number 4 receiver. He's going to play. This is not one of those things where, we're going to rotate as much as we can, but they don't get past 5 and 6, or they don't get to 5 and 6. I think you'll see Brandon Ennis out there more than, say, Xavier Johnson was in the past. I think he's going to be out there pretty regularly and get those guys rotating. The way they keep talking about Mylan Graham, he is making a push, but you can't ever really expect too much from a freshman wide receiver at Ohio State because it is difficult. We've talked about it over the years. Carnell Tate had 18 catches last year as a true freshman. That's like the fourth or fifth most in Ohio State history. And for a true freshman wide receiver. So don't expect big things. Jackson Smith and Jigba had 49 yards receiving as a true freshman. Don't expect big things from true freshmen. But you could, I wouldn't be surprised if Mylan Graham has the kind of Chris Olave progression where by the end of the season, you're seeing something from him. But even Olave, I think, had 12 catches as a true freshman. So it's like everybody remembers that Michigan game, and he had 2 catches for 48 yards, 2 24-yard touchdowns. But there's not a lot of production around that. So I think that's a name. But James Peoples and Brandon Ennis, I think, are the two that I would go with because I think James Peoples will have 100 carries and probably 600 yards rushing this year as a number 3 guy. And I expect him to play in quite a few third quarters. I'm interested to see if he plays in the first half of games. And that would give you another indication that they are very confident in him. So those are some of my answers. What about you, Mark?
Oh, yeah. There's so many selections left on the board for me to try to scarf up at this point. I will go with the ultimate wild card and the ultimate ace from either a negative impact or a positive impact is that I would love somebody to run the numbers on how many quarterbacks get injured, first-string quarterbacks get injured during a season because the backup quarterback, whether that's carrying through the rest of the season, 2014, or it's just, hey, we need you for 3 weeks to get us to November 1st. That could be, obviously, for any team, could be huge. College football is even more exciting with some action on the line. And the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Let's start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread. I've got a 40-year track record. In fact, in 2023, at $100 played per game, you would have netted over $9,300. And guess what? I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill, our ace in the hole, show stopper from Wager Talk. 6 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick, which went 21-5 against the spread the last 2 seasons. I repeat, 21-5 against the spread. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Steve Dace and Matt Zemek. Become a YouTube channel member or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2024 a winner now.